Have you ever stopped to think about the quiet, hidden burdens you carry into each day? There exists a profound and often unrecognized truth about the emotional weights that we lug around, the baggage of our pasts that influences our perceptions and the choices we make in our present lives. As we maneuver through the chaos of our existence, we frequently overlook these subtle weights. Life can be chaotic, and sometimes, deep down, we hold on to the debris from the past that shapes who we are right now. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, a pioneer in the study of grief, brilliantly illuminated how unacknowledged emotional burdens can have an overwhelming impact on our well-being. Her work on the stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance provides us with a structured way to understand how we process loss. However, the complex truth lies in the understanding that these stages do not unfold in a neat, tidy order. Think about it. How does the weight of unacknowledged grief shape your daily existence? Is there a lingering sense of sadness or regret that colors your interactions? Are there moments where you catch yourself reflecting on past decisions that haunt you, diminishing your joy in the present? These emotional weights can appear in various forms: buried anger from unresolved conflicts, chronic disappointment in relationships, or unfulfilled dreams we might have sidelined along the way. As with any weight we carry, the first step to liberation is recognition. Yet we often resist this recognition. Denial creeps in, subtly cushioning the blow of uncomfortable truths. We convince ourselves that our burdens aren't significant or that they will dissipate over time without confrontation. This tactic might feel momentarily soothing, but it is ultimately a trap that keeps us stuck in cycles of pain that play out in our lives. Imagine walking around with a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Initially, you might think it's manageable. You can convince yourself you don't need to remove them just yet. But as the hours drag on and you're still carrying this burden, what happens? Your back aches, your shoulders feel heavy, you begin to slow down, and the weight hinders your ability to move freely. Emotional burdens work in much the same way. They accumulate slowly, often without our awareness, until we find ourselves fatigued by the very essence of our existence. Acceptance, then, becomes not an act of surrendering to our pain, but rather a bold confrontation with it. Just look at how kids react when faced with a difficult situation. They cry, they express anger, and often they seek understanding. Yet as adults, we tend to bottle up those raw emotions, fearing vulnerability or judgment. Could it be that these weights are not merely obstacles, but rather messages calling us to address unresolved issues in our lives? By recognizing and confronting our emotional weights, we start to unpack the issues burdening our hearts. Ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed yourself to feel anger or sadness? Have you allowed yourself to confront the chaos within? What might happen if you pause to examine your emotional backlog? Let's challenge the conventional logic around healing. Healing is not about organizing our feelings into neat categories, but about embracing the disorder within us. Perhaps true strength resides in facing the emotional disarray we avoid, in accepting that life is not always a beautifully wrapped gift. Life's beauty often emerges from chaos, much like a tapestry woven together from all shades of thread, both the light and the dark. If you're curious about what truly holds you back, subscribe now and join us as we peel back the layers of emotional weight. In the next section, we'll explore the toxicity of denial and anger, how they function as traps, and what it means to face these emotions head-on. Reflect on this. How would your life change if you stepped into your emotions rather than shying away from them? Let's find out together. Let's delve into the intricate and often turbulent emotional landscape of denial and anger. These two stages, as described by Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, act as protective shields, allowing us to hide from truths that feel too overwhelming to confront. But what happens when these defenses become traps instead of shields? Denial often presents itself as a comforting blanket. It whispers to us, suggesting that everything is just fine, that the chaos around us isn't really there, or that the burdens we carry aren't heavy at all. In our daily lives, there are countless scenarios where we find ourselves denying the existence of emotional pain or toxic relationships. Perhaps you've convinced yourself that a stressful job is bearable, despite the emotional toll it is taking on your well-being. Or maybe you've ignored signals of distress in a close relationship, opting instead to believe that things will improve on their own. Have you ever thought about how denial can manifest in your own life? Reflect on times when you felt a gnawing discomfort but pushed it aside. Did you find yourself saying, "I'm fine," even when you weren't? Denial can even become comfortable and habitual, almost like a well-worn path in your mind that leads away from the unsettling truths you might fear facing. However, this avoidance does not make the issues disappear. It merely buries them. Now, let's introduce anger, the often misunderstood companion of denial. Anger emerges as our emotional response when denial is challenged. Think about a time when someone confronted you about a problem you were trying to ignore. That spike of irritation or frustration, it's a natural reaction, but it can also be a powerful indicator of deeper emotional issues. When we refuse to face our burdens, anger festers within us. It can bubble to the surface unexpectedly, leading to outbursts that might frighten us or those around us. Take a moment to consider, what hidden anger might you be stifling? Are you holding on to resentment about a past relationship or an unresolved conflict with a friend? Rather than acknowledging these feelings, many of us choose to bury them, mistakenly believing that suppression is healthier than confrontation. But instead of releasing pressure, suppressing anger often magnifies it, resulting in toxicity, both within ourselves and in our relationships. A vivid analogy here might be a shaken soda can. If you're holding on to it, ignoring the growing pressure inside, it's only a matter of time before it explodes, spraying its contents everywhere. Just as the soda can requires a release, our emotions demand an acknowledgement. Allowing yourself to confront anger is not about assigning blame. It is about understanding the root causes of that anger and the burdens behind it. What truths are you refusing to see? We often cling to denial and anger because they perform the dual function of protecting us and preventing us from feeling vulnerable. There's a sense of power in denial, a facade that everything is under control. But the reality is, the longer we maintain this illusion, the more pressure builds up beneath the surface, which ultimately leads us back to chaos. So how can we begin to disentangle ourselves from this denial anger trap? It starts with honest introspection. Set aside time to ask yourself difficult questions. What truths have I been avoiding? What emotions seem to trigger anger in me? By addressing these issues head-on, you open the door to genuine healing. Brené Brown often emphasizes the power of vulnerability in her work. When we allow ourselves to be seen, anger and all, we invite real connections and healing into our lives. This journey is not without discomfort. Facing your denial takes courage, and expressing your anger in constructive ways rather than letting it fester can feel overwhelming. Yet consider this. What if you saw facing these emotions as not a fault but a strength? What unprecedented freedom could that bring to your life? As we step into this process of recognition and confrontation, reflect on your own experiences. Have you felt denial or anger about something in your life? Leave a comment below to share your thoughts. Acknowledging these emotions is a crucial step toward breaking free from the chains that keep us bound. In the next segment, we'll explore the intricate relationship between negotiation and depression, and how these concepts tie back into the burdens we carry. Are you ready to challenge the price of holding on? Let's uncover the connection together. Now, let's continue our journey as we explore the negotiation trap, the complex interplay of holding on and the emotional toll it can extract from us, often leading to depression. This negotiation is not merely about bartering in relationships, but a deep internal dialogue, a costly agreement we make with ourselves to endure pain rather than to confront it. Reflect on this. How many times have you found yourself stuck in a cycle where you repeatedly negotiate with your emotional burdens rather than addressing them head on? When we experience hardship, we often have a tendency to bargain with our pain. This bargaining might look like telling ourselves, if I just stay a little longer in this unhealthy relationship, things will get better. Or if I ignore my unhappiness, it will eventually fade away. This mindset can feel like a lifeline, providing a false sense of control in a sea of uncertainty. But what happens when that negotiation becomes a way of life? The reality is that prolonging our suffering, even under the guise of hope, can lead to profound emotional fatigue. Cognitive dissonance, a psychological phenomenon, describes the discomfort experienced when our beliefs and actions are misaligned. This painful tension often drives us to negotiate our feelings. Picture a busy intersection where two conflicting thoughts collide. One side urging you to leave a toxic environment for your well-being, while the other convinces you that staying loyal will yield better days. This turmoil can be debilitating, causing you to linger in a state of ambiguity. What's even more insidious about this negotiation is that it can morph into depression. When we focus intensely on maintaining the status quo, our emotional state suffers. Imagine trying to carry a heavy backpack filled with rocks. You know it's burdensome, yet you convince yourself it's manageable. Over time, each rock represents an emotional debt you accrue. Neglecting to face the weight of that backpack inevitably leads to weariness, frustration, and ultimately sadness. You may find that instead of negotiating your way to better outcomes, you are simply negotiating a deeper descent into despair. Let's consider a practical example. Think back to a time when you sensed that a friendship had become toxic. You might plead with yourself to overlook the red flags, convincing yourself that this person has good intentions or that things will eventually change. Each time you choose to overlook a hurtful comment or a dismissive action, you are essentially trading your emotional peace for an unreliable promise of improvement. Without realizing it, you may slide into a state of sadness, feeling trapped by the very negotiations designed to protect you. So, what exactly can we do to break free from this cycle of unhealthy negotiation? It requires an honest assessment of the costs of our emotional entanglements. Start with self-reflection. Ask yourself, what is this negotiation costing me? Is it worth my peace of mind? By identifying the areas where you're negotiating your happiness, you empower yourself to reclaim agency over your life. Zindel Segal, a psychologist and co-founder of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, emphasizes that awareness is the first step toward healing. Mindful awareness enables you to examine the beliefs driving your negotiations and to question their validity. When you observe your patterns without judgment, you may start to understand the emotional layers that inform your decisions, releasing long-held beliefs that have kept you imprisoned. But consider this. What if the price of letting go is far less than the emotional toll of holding on? Now, take a moment for introspection. What's your secret negotiation strategy when dealing with the heaviness in your life? Share your experiences in the comments below. Identifying and naming these emotional negotiations is crucial for breaking free from them. Next, we'll examine the chaotic nature of letting go and the criticisms often faced during this non-linear journey. As we dive deeper, I encourage you to reflect on how the expectations of others may be influencing your ability to release those emotional weights. Are you ready to explore the complexities of this chaotic process? Let's uncover the truth together. As we navigate the tapestry of letting go, we enter a chaotic realm, a space filled with emotional turbulence that can feel overwhelming. The act of releasing our burdens is anything but linear. In fact, it often resembles more of a dance, one filled with steps forward, steps backward, and moments of hesitation. It's essential that we recognize this chaotic nature as a natural part of the process. Are you prepared to embrace the discomfort that comes with loosening your grip on the emotional weights you've carried for so long? Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast sea, contemplating whether to dive in. The water is both inviting and intimidating. You may have grown accustomed to the weights that you've been holding, and the thought of detaching from them can elicit anxiety. This analogy perfectly encapsulates the experience of letting go. It's a leap into the unknown, where you risk losing a part of your identity. But in that loss, you have an opportunity for profound growth. Yet, one of the most challenging aspects of this journey is the criticism that often comes from ourselves and others. How many times have you heard or internalized comments like, "You should just get over it," or "Why can't you just be happy?" This external pressure to conform to a narrative of swift healing can make the process feel even more chaotic. It can instill a sense of inadequacy and lead us to question our emotional journeys. Are we moving through these layers of grief and acceptance as we should, or are we somehow falling short? Let's reflect on the notion of expectation, both our own and those imposed by others. When you think about the emotional burdens you wish to shed, ask yourself, what are the expectations you hold about how this process should unfold? Do you feel a pressure to conform to a timeline or a way of grieving that aligns with societal standards of behavior? Kübler-Ross emphasized that grief is profoundly personal and does not follow a set timeline. It resembles a unique fingerprint. No two experiences are alike. Ironically, while we navigate our paths, the comparison trap can keep us stuck in despair rather than moving toward acceptance. We may harbor feelings of guilt for not healing quickly enough, or we might carry frustration for how long it takes to feel normal again. Consider this. What if you treated yourself with the gentleness you'd extend to a friend? Instead of criticizing yourself for your pace, what if you instead celebrated every small step taken toward embracing your emotions? Recognizing that the journey of letting go is messy and imperfect can offer immense relief. Furthermore, think about how you can create a supportive environment for yourself. Surrounding yourself with people who understand the chaotic nature of emotional processing fosters an atmosphere of authenticity. Allow yourself to express fear, uncertainty, and vulnerability, feelings that are often dismissed but are essential to moving forward. Create a space where it is okay not to be okay. It could also be beneficial to lean into creative outlets, whether that's journaling, making art, or even engaging in physical activities like yoga or dance. Through these movements, you have the chance to externalize your internal chaos, not as a final product, but as a journey toward understanding and release. Let's contemplate this path together. When faced with your chaotic emotions, do you create space for acceptance, or do you criticize yourself for experiencing difficulty? Share your thoughts in the comments below. It's a powerful act to recognize the beauty in the messy process of emotional release. As we prepare to transition to the next part of our exploration, we will delve into acceptance and how it ultimately serves as a path toward freedom. Are you ready to uncover the liberation found within acceptance and start embracing the lessons of your journey? Let's dive into this final stage together. As we approach the final stage of our exploration, acceptance, we find ourselves standing at a crossroads. Acceptance is not merely about passive resignation. It symbolizes a profound acknowledgement of our realities, a transformative shift in how we relate to our experiences. It's about embracing the entirety of our journey with all its chaotic beauty and painful lessons. Have you ever wondered what true acceptance feels like in your life? Often, we think of acceptance as the end goal, the shiny trophy we receive once we've navigated through our emotional burdens. However, it's crucial to understand that acceptance is an ongoing process, much like traversing an ever-changing landscape. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast canyon. The journey to the other side doesn't happen in a single leap. It's a series of small steps, filled with both triumphs and stumbles. Acceptance invites us to appreciate each step along the way, recognizing that progress is not always linear. When Elisabeth Kübler-Ross outlined a stages of grief, she illustrated that acceptance isn't just about moving past our feelings, but holding space for them to coexist with us. That might stir up a question in your mind. Can you hold your pain and your joy simultaneously? This ability to dwell within complexity is the foundation of acceptance. It acknowledges that life is a blend of experiences, and the embrace of both sorrow and joy can lead to a richer existence. Reflect for a moment on a time when you felt a profound sense of acceptance. Perhaps it was during a period when you finally understood that a relationship was over, or when you recognized that a dream you once held dear was no longer feasible. Notice how acceptance of these realities may have allowed room for new possibilities to enter your life. Recognizing your capacity for growth in the aftermath of acceptance fosters resilience and opens doors to new opportunities. However, it's essential to acknowledge that acceptance may invite discomfort as well. When we accept a situation, we often confront the reality of what it entails, which can lead to feelings of sadness or loss. Think about it. To truly accept a loss means allowing ourselves to mourn. It may seem counterintuitive, but in facing our grief rather than avoiding it, we pave the way for healing. In acknowledging our truths, we begin to derive strength from our emotional scars. Acceptance can also prompt a reevaluation of our expectations. Are you holding on to preconceived notions about how your life should look? The models we often create in our minds can trap us, leading to disappointment when reality diverges. This can be particularly challenging for those who experience societal pressure. Ask yourself, are your expectations truly your own, or are they echoes of external influences? Additionally, let's explore the significant role of self-compassion in the practice of acceptance. As we learn to embrace our emotional journeys, we must also extend kindness to ourselves. Rather than scolding yourself for feeling sad, treat these emotions with understanding as you would with a dear friend. You might say, "It's okay to feel this way. I am human." This act of compassion acts as a comfort blanket, allowing acceptance to feel less daunting. One powerful tool for fostering acceptance is mindfulness. By directing our attention to the present moment, we can cultivate an awareness that can help us recognize our emotions without judgment. This practice helps us observe our internal experiences as they arise, making room for acceptance to flourish. It allows us to stand alongside our emotions, acknowledging their presence while also asserting that we are not defined by them. Before we conclude, take a moment to reflect on the road ahead. How might your life transform if you allowed yourself to practice acceptance more fully? What fears arise at the thought of fully letting go and embracing your reality? Share your reflections in the comments section below. Each insight can serve as a beacon of hope for others navigating similar journeys. Our next step together will focus on the authentic liberation that stems from acceptance and how it opens our hearts to a more meaningful existence. Are you ready to unleash the profound power of acceptance in your life? Let's embark on this journey toward emotional freedom and discover what it truly means to be present in our own lives. As we delve deeper into the liberating power of acceptance, we shift our focus to the profound transformation it invites into our lives. Acceptance acts as a bridge, not merely reconciling our present with our past, but actualizing our potential for a more fulfilling future. What if you looked at acceptance not as an endpoint, but as an ongoing journey that enriches every aspect of your existence? Embracing acceptance allows us to step into an empowered state of being. It liberates us from the chains of self-judgment and societal expectations. When we accept our reality, both its joys and its sorrows, we align ourselves with our true selves. This alignment fosters resilience, enabling us to navigate challenges with grace and fortitude. Imagine standing tall amidst a storm, rooted by a profound sense of self-awareness. How would that change the way you interact with the world around you? Let's consider a practical perspective. Picture a situation in your life where you face disappointment, whether a dream that didn't manifest or a relationship that fell apart. Often, we may cling to regret or a desire to change the past. But rather than viewing these situations solely through the lens of what went wrong, acceptance invites us to ask, what did I learn? How has this experience contributed to my growth? In these moments of reflection, you may find that what felt like an insurmountable barrier actually becomes a vital stepping stone. Each lesson learned fuels your personal evolution, providing wisdom and insight that shapes your future choices. Acceptance grants the freedom to let go of the past, allowing space for new opportunities to arise. However, it's vital to acknowledge that acceptance is not synonymous with passive resignation. Rather, it's an active engagement with reality, a conscious choice to embrace what is. It's a declaration of your willingness to experience life in its entirety, rather than filtering it through preconceived judgments or fears. This shift in perspective can be daunting. What fears linger when contemplating this bold act of acceptance? Consider how acceptance allows for greater emotional authenticity. When we embrace our vulnerabilities, we cultivate deeper connections, both with ourselves and with others. Have you ever felt the weight of unexpressed emotions? When you deny your feelings, you create barriers to true intimacy, often leaving you feeling isolated. Acceptance breaks down these walls, allowing for open conversations and genuine connections to flourish. For instance, think back to a time when you shared your struggles with someone, a friend, family member, or therapist. Opening up about your challenges fosters a sense of solidarity and understanding. This act of vulnerability not only deepens your connection with others, but also paves the way for collective healing. You might ask yourself, how can embracing acceptance enhance your relationships? Are you willing to share your authentic self with those around you? As we unlock the potential of acceptance, we also uncover the space for joy and gratitude to flourish. It's intriguing to reflect on the notion that acceptance often leads us to a paradoxical realization. The more we let go of the need for control, the more we open ourselves to experiences of happiness. By accepting life's imperfections, we cultivate an appreciation for the present, savoring moments of beauty that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. Engage in a simple exercise. Make a list of everyday moments that bring you joy, no matter how small. It could be the warmth of sunlight streaming through your window, a conversation with a loved one, or a good cup of coffee. Acknowledging these moments in your life can help reinforce the power of acceptance, highlighting how it elevates the richness of our experiences. Before we reach the end of our journey together, take a moment of self-reflection. In this season of your life, how can you deepen your practice of acceptance? What small, tangible steps can you take to embrace the lessons of your journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below, as your insights hold the potential to inspire others seeking similar transformations. As we look towards concluding this exploration, our next discussion will encompass not only the fruits of acceptance, but also how we can integrate this practice into our daily lives. Are you ready to discover actionable steps that can help you embrace acceptance and transform your existence? Let's venture into this final chapter together, uncovering the possibilities that await you on the other side of acceptance. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration, it's vital to consider how we can weave acceptance into the fabric of our everyday lives. Imagine acceptance not just as a concept, but as a thread that binds your experiences, shaping the way you approach each day. What if you could cultivate a deep sense of acceptance in even the most challenging moments, transforming your interactions and enriching your overall well-being? To begin integrating acceptance into your daily routine, start with mindful awareness. This means being present in the moment, acknowledging your thoughts, feelings, and circumstances without judgment. Mindfulness can act as a gentle nudge, guiding you to pause and observe rather than react impulsively. Have you ever found yourself in a heated moment, reacting out of alignment with your values? By practicing mindfulness, you can create a space where acceptance can flourish. Imagine taking a deep breath before responding to a challenging situation, choosing to approach it with openness instead of frustration. How might that change the outcome? In practical terms, consider beginning each day with a moment of reflection. You might take a few minutes to sit in silence, breathing slowly, and focus on what you want to accept today. This could be accepting yourself as you are, accepting uncertainty in your plans, or accepting challenges that lie ahead. The key here is to set the intention for acceptance as you navigate your day. Journaling can also be an effective tool. Write about moments that trigger resistance within you, and then explore how acceptance can shift your perspective. How might the simple act of writing help clarify your feelings and experiences? Next, it's important to allow flexibility in your expectations. Life is inherently unpredictable, and rigid expectations can often lead to feelings of disappointment. Instead, practice adaptability. When things don't go as planned, rather than resisting, try embracing the potential for change. For instance, if a work project goes differently than you envisioned, rather than panicking, ask yourself, what new opportunities does this create? This shift in mindset opens the door to possibilities that might have otherwise remained hidden. Additionally, we can look to gratitude as a complementary practice to acceptance. When we acknowledge the things for which we are thankful, we naturally cultivate a greater awareness of the present. Gratitude anchors us in the here and now, enabling us to appreciate the beauty around us. Engage in another exercise. Each evening, jot down 3 things that you are grateful for, however small. This could be a kind interaction, a moment of humor, or the smell of fresh air on your evening walk. By integrating gratitude into your routine, you create a powerful counterbalance to any negativity that may arise. Moreover, remember that acceptance does not mean resignation to unfavorable circumstances. It does not equate to a passive approach to life's challenges. Rather, it involves recognizing what we cannot change while still taking active steps to improve our situations wherever possible. Think of a gardener who accepts the reality of seasonal changes in her garden. She doesn't force her flowers to bloom in winter. Instead, she prepares for spring, nurturing her plants in the meantime. How can this metaphor resonate in your life as you confront challenges? Embrace the notion that learning to accept your feelings, whether they are of joy, sadness, anger, or fear, can lead to profound emotional clarity. By acknowledging your emotional landscape, you build resilience. Reflect on how often you may have dismissed emotions as burdens rather than honored them as integral parts of your experience. What would it look like to allow each emotion, even the uncomfortable ones, to have a voice? As we wrap up our discussion, it's essential to understand that acceptance does not happen overnight. It is a continuous journey, and as you encounter new challenges, your practice of acceptance will evolve. Embrace the inevitability of this evolution, recognizing that each step taken toward acceptance deepens your understanding of yourself and your life. Take a moment now to commit to your practice of acceptance. What can you do today to honor this journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's foster a community of support and growth that inspires us to embrace acceptance together. In closing, let's remember that acceptance is not a destination, but a beautiful path, one filled with twists and turns, challenges and victories. Allow this practice to guide you toward a life imbued with peace, joy, and authenticity. As we step into the world with hearts open to acceptance, we can create a brighter future, not just for ourselves, but also for those around us. Are you ready to embrace this journey and allow acceptance to transform your life? Together, let's take this final step onward into the light of acceptance.